I haven't read it yet. I'm looking forward to this. So, I saw this come out on Twitter just before I went live, and I was like, I'll wait, because I really wanted to see this, because this is a very interesting topic. I don't know, more rebalancing. So this is the last rebalance project I think we had was with the, I could be wrong, but I want to say the blowpipe, but I feel like they may have done one between now and then. This post contains a lot of text that isn't really simple to provide a TLDR for. Where possible, we've used bullet points to get the key points across, but if reading isn't your thing, then proceed with caution. Good. I love how Jagex immediately, straight off the bat, confirms and just is admitting that the community is incompetent and likely won't read properly, which we can all agree on. I've been on RuneScape Twitter. Half the people on that website are fucking squid lickers. So, yeah, if reading isn't your thing, then proceed with caution. Shit. Thank God I'm here to read it for you. Reading isn't my thing either, but at least you'll have a laugh. As we begin our descent into the final month of the year, okay, our thoughts naturally turn to the future and big ideas to take us into 2024. Awesome. Get yourself comfortable, because it's time to talk about Project Rebalance. This is a very complex topic, so today's blog will actually be more of an overview with its initial focus on two hotly debated subjects, Scythe and Fang. We'll lay some groundwork, set expectations for what's to come, and open up the discussion. Then we'll be back in 2024 with much more detailed, dedicated blogs about each topic. This project is huge, and we want to help us steer it forward. So this post has been out. This has been on the website for about 2 hours, okay? About 2 hours this has been released, this blog. And already the prices of these weapons have shifted. I believe the scythe has gone up, but the Fang has gone down. And I've had handfuls of people come to the chat. Should I sell? I bought the other day. I bought the wrong item. This is a fucking overview, okay? And you're shitting your pants over the market. Okay, stop worrying about the price of the scythe and the Fang, all right? It is purely determined by opinion and not fact. This is an overview with many more blogs to come. Those prices are going to be all over the place for the next 6+ months until this is completely over. So stop worrying about it. Stop trying to beat the market. If you have a Fang, keep it. If you have a scythe, keep it. If you have any other weapon they talk about in this blog, fucking just keep it. Okay? You have the weapon. Don't worry about the money. You're poor. It doesn't matter, alright? You're broke regardless of gender. Just keep the fucking weapon. Please. Stop being stupid with your fucking money in RuneScape. It's not that hard. Project Rebalance started out as a game jam project. Mods Arcane, Halo, Husky, and Kieran decided to use their jam time to look into improving existing content rather than making something new. The project has evolved quite a bit since then, touching on a range of player and dev concerns about balancing power creep. People don't understand power creep, reward space, and more. That's the what. The why is a little more complex. Some parts of this initial pitch were all about making underutilized content a little less obsolete, so players wouldn't find themselves checking the osrs wiki after a level up message and realizing their brand new unlock wasn't worth their time. Other parts looked at making early game content a little bit more intuitive, namely low level slayers, so that new adventurers could spend a little less time plugged into the wiki page or YouTube video, more time immersing themselves in Gilnor. So far so good, relatively low stakes, nice to have changes. Yeah, a lot of people rely on the opinions of other players, like how to do shit, rather than playing their own game. Making Ironman item cost no longer matters, most of the time, yeah. Should I do another 40k here and sell the extra scythe? Yeah, do it. Why not? You should get one easily. We're moving beyond the initial pitch though. There were more high-risk stakes questions around existing item power. Some pieces of equipment were doing far too much heavy lifting, others not doing enough to befit their situation, and of course we wanted to lay the foundation for new reward space in the future. As it stands right now, Project Rebalance has undergone some serious expansion, and while we're confident in our rationale for many of the pieces, we want to start sharing our thoughts with you. All right, brief overview. Excuse me, there's a lot to go over Project Rebalance. Before Project Rebalance has been put into action, when we're ready, we'll be releasing dedicated blogs for each section with in-depth breakdowns of what we'd like to do and why. In the meantime, let's start with the extremely brief summary. Okay, all right. Agility, Slayer Thieving, and miscellaneous skilling tweaks. This section made up the majority of the initial game jam pitch. While we're not going to go into specific detail, we'd like to give you a clear idea of everything that's been considered, so that if you have early thoughts, then we can see how they match up, rather than leaving everybody to run wild with things that might be out of scope, which is what everyone's going to do anyway. All right, summary balancing of agility, course XP rates, and requirements. Yep, okay, sorry, I'm just comprehending that. Removing some fail points that occur recently, really close to the end of the agility course. Yep, okay, like the Draenor one. No, the Canifus one. Adjusting the level/die requirements for some agility shortcuts while exploring the potential for new high-value shortcuts to make progress feel more rewarding. To be honest, if you want to make shortcuts feel more rewarding in this game, they need to just make them instantaneous. I get the animation's really cool. It's nice to see you crawl under the fucking wall. But if you just, like, ported from one side of the wall to the other, just make them portals or something, then it would be a genuine shortcut. There's nothing worse than a shortcut that doesn't feel like a shortcut, right? It's just annoying as shit. I feel like the animation is cool, but, like, it's taking too long. Improving the Brimhaven agility dungeon that makes it competitive, high effort alternative to more typical methods like rooftop courses. That's good. Rebalancing XP and fail rates at various NPCs to better position them within thieving progression. Okay, alright. Rebalancing XP rates, respawn rates, and drop rates for various stores to make them a little more desirable for everyone, not just pet hunters. I like that. Saves you just clicking night, Making the pref agility portals. I have no problem if they change a bunch of shortcuts to just portals across the map, but like you have to do Song of the Elves, and then if not all shortcuts, a lot of shortcuts across Gildor become elf portals instead, or they do like a new quest for that, then the shortcuts are actually fucking useful. Like, why not? That'd be pretty cool. For example, in Draenor Village, that wall you crawl under, it's just, just fucking run around. But if it was instantaneous, like I don't care about the animation. If it's just straight up your guy goes like that on the wall, like in fucking Yanil, and you're on the other side, that's great. I don't care. But if you want the game to look good, then just make it all fucking portals. OS3, shut up. Yeah, Yanil one, exactly. Alright. Improving the gloves of silence. Good, they'll be useful. Removing various tasks from low-level Slayer Masters. Okay. Adjusting quantity of NPCs offered for lower-level Slayer Masters. Is this just going to make tutorial skipping faster? Or no, they're going to make maybe Vanica worth doing instead. So you can tutorial skip like at a similar speed maybe, but get points. That'd be cool. Adding a new Slayer unique or two to assist with early game Slayer. That's cool. Improving the Dorgish Khan light orb activity. What the fuck is that? What? Streamlining creation of Guthix rests. Do you even need Guthix rests in this game? Adding, you do the in-game pit. No, you don't. Adding make all functionality to barbarian potions. I've seen people not happy with that, but I don't really understand why. I've never touched them, so it's got nothing to do with me. Improving the Ring of Pursuit. What the fuck is that? The Necklace of Faith? What's the Necklace of Faith? Necklace of Faith. If Faraday's Aid is the... That's the vampire thing, right? Decent for early Zora and Vorkarth. Guthix Rest, as opposed to like anti-poisons, hey? Ring of Pursuit OS is for trapping Kevits. Okay, so content no one does. Unless they make Ring of Pursuit work for Herbie. It's not going to work, because they heal too. How much do they heal? Guthix Rest is good for Tob, basically, if you don't want to bring sweets for tick eats. What are you talking about? What do you mean, instead of bring sweets for tick eats? You can just use food to tick eat. I guess people see the value, but half the people doing that in Tob are, you know, getting onions from the chest. You get the tick eat onion. Sounds very cringe, but sure, I guess. Just eat the fucking sweets. To reiterate, we're going into significantly... Basically, they're overcomplicating Theatre of Blood if you Guthix resting Tob. Trust me. You were thinking way too hard about that raid. We're going into significantly more detail on every single one of these points in dedicated blog. Okay, then I don't care. Alright? I don't... Like, they're cool points. Until I see a blog on these, I have no opinion. Because this means... Improving Ring of Pursuit means nothing to me until I see a blog. So, at the moment, this is all... almost remotely irrelevant, right? Good. I'm glad they're doing something about it. But until I see a blog, cool. We're just going to scroll past it and look for something more interesting. Mining. Another skill. Alright. Curiously, not included with the three we've just mentioned. Mining's been a hot topic since our changes to shooting stars earlier this year. And we want more people enjoying the diversity offered by mining without displacing existing methods or weakening their identity. Alright? Let's have a look. Improving mobile mines positioning as a low-intensity method with some ore output. Okay, improving volcanic mines approachability. Yeah, like maybe not locking it behind fucking every single fossil. Improving blast mines viability. Adjust amethyst vein mining. Adjusting mining gloves to make them feel more desirable for their price. Consider the hard current die requirement for lower gem mine. reconsider it, or to make it like maybe medium. Ooh, that'd be interesting, especially when it comes to the teleport. I might change a few things. Gover's Rest, overheals 5 HP, 5% run energy, reduces poison to venom damage by 1, up to 4 doses, takes 4 low-level herbs to make 3 doses. Yeah, but anti-poisons you can just buy from a vendor. Like, I get that it's super handy for Zora, but Zora isn't that difficult. I think that's a bit overkill. I think anti-poisons you can just fucking buy and send, to be honest, but sure. What else we got here? Sorry, where were we? Improve in-game messaging to encourage charged Amulet of Glory usage while gem mining. Okay. Improve clue geodes rates from regular mining. Add more viable spots for granite and sandstone to reduce competition for players looking to learn tick manipulation methods. Or just build up their supply of sand on iron accounts. Yeah, I mean, you could have like an underground sand mine as well if you've done like your desert medium or desert hard. Kind of like the gem mine. Or you could have like a dedicated, like an instanced sand mine even. Adjusting Volcano drop system to give players more flexibility to choose between high GP per hour or high XP per hour without impacting uniques. Address group size scaling issues Volcano that make finding a world difficult at times. I feel like Volcano's problem is just the XP in general, right? It's like Volcano's good money, but people still don't do it. So, sure, but I mean, I guess it depends on changing it to XP per hour. We'll see how it goes. It's not like a lot, but it kind of is, yes. But it's like just like the changes in the previous section, we're not looking to shift existing metas in any significant way. Love it or hate it, 3-tick granite or gems is still going to be the go-to if you're looking to really maximize your gains. I think that's bullshit. I think it is complete bullshit that they have to leave it to 3-ticking granite or gems just because it's some engine busted system that people get really upset about because, oh no, my XP rates. It could still be the great XP it is, but it shouldn't be something that's considered competitive when no one cares. Like have a 120k mining XP per hour method that is just enjoyable and decent. Like, it's fine with it being the best XP rate, but you shouldn't hold the entire skill back. You shouldn't hold back the enjoyment of the skill or just the development of the skill because of something like this. Like mining would be fine if you could get these sort of XP rates without giving that much of a shit about the skill. That's why skills succeed. If they don't give you a lot of money and bring a lot of enjoyment to the game, then it's the XP rates. Good XP rates is what you want. You want XP rates if it's a shit boring skill. That's why people don't mind doing Wintertodt. Wintertodt is fucking horrendous, terrible, but it's great XP, so people will just sit through it to 99, no worries. It's that simple. So like having this essentially gatekeep the skill is dumb. 100k an hour is good, I think. I don't know. I think 200k XP an hour is acceptable for a skill. I think that is totally fine. The thieving has it. Thieving shit. Thieving is a terrible skill. But people accept it. People go squirking now instead if they want to. But Ironman shouldn't squirk because you waste a lot of resources. But clicking fucking Arty Knights at 200k XP an hour isn't a problem for people. So what's the problem? Jagex is afraid to contribute new, better training methods to almost anything. No, I think Jagex just doesn't want to upset the loud minority of spastics who think 3-ticking granite is actually like something credible that people care about. You can go do it still if you want. Even Andrew Gower said in original Runescape when it first came out they didn't really expect many people to reach 99, so there was very little content up in higher levels. This game was not made for that. Yeah, I agree. Can't stand Wintertodt, but XP makes it worth it for sure. Yeah, Wintertodt, I've been doing a fair bit of Wintertodt lately. It fucking sucks. I hate it. XP is good though. Like, if you're not going to make the skill profitable, like, and when I say profitable, I mean, like, what's a profitable skill? Other than Slayer. I don't actually know. Like, Giant's Foundry works because it's great XP and you get money, right? Giant's Foundry is annoying. It's pretty boring pretty boring content, right? Giant's Foundry is tedious. It's annoying, but it is great XP and great money. So it wins. Runecrafting. Runecrafting is profitable. Yeah, people don't mind doing blood runecrafting at Zaya. Terrible XP rates, but it's super AFK. It's not tedious, and you make a decent amount of money from it. Hunter, birdhouses and 2D Herbie. I don't know. Only reason RuneScape is successful is because they built it with month-long grinds, even if not intentional. That's not the only reason. Oh, sorry, a big reason. I think that's fair, yeah. Catching chins, that's about it. Yeah, fuck catching chins. I think that's something that people like are refusing to accept, is that skills are successful because they have something good. Mining doesn't have anything good. If what they can do, if they don't want to make it big XP per hour, they should make it that ores don't deplete after one fucking ore. Like, why is it that at 99 mining, or even like 90 mining, it takes me 10 years to mine fucking mithril ore, just one ore? Like, it takes so long for that level. You should be smashing it like that, and it should respawning. It should be just coming back quickly. Or I should be able to get more than one ore per fucking rock. Like, it's so inconsistent. Ore trick, exactly. Make it like they did with woodcutting, where it's timed, like they have in Motherlode Mine. They should, like, mining is, it's being gatekept by terrible fucking opinions. And it's just people like Autism Elegy being like, oh, technically shift drop is bad for the game. You're bad for the game. High level ores should work like trees. All ores should. Power mining better than iron would make it appealing? Yeah, I think so. Mining rework in RS3 is amazing. I think I know about the mining rework. I definitely did RS3 mining. I just can't remember exactly how it works. Never understood why it takes so long to mine low tier ones. Or it's because it's just a poor fucking game design they never touched. That's all. Like, it should be better than that. It is a terrible skill all around. Alright. Now to the heavier stuff. These last two sections will be pretty easy for most players to understand, even if we just released a blog or explained a video. These new sections, however, are the reason we're opting to tackle each section week by week. Alright, let's have a look. We'll give a brief overview of each section and then explain our next steps and what to expect. So hold your horses and please keep reading before you start typing. Gotcha. Chat, shut up. I got this. Alright. Run energy changes, likely to be the shortest section. Let's run through it. The top level overview. We'd like to revisit some of the work from 2022's November Game Jam. Where we look at run energy drain, run energy regen, and how weight and agility level interact with all the above. These changes will now involve a whole lot of maths and absolutely require a beta before we can discuss this in any detail. Waiting on engine changes that would be required to make any of these adjustments in the first place. We're holding off on talking about these until you're able to get into a beta world and try these out. Okay, I would like to think, I mean, obviously you guys have seen, if you haven't, I have put out a video and had an opinion on them changing the way run energy works. That'd be cool if they don't have to obviously do anything I said, but that'd be cool if they looked into something like that. That's how I feel like it can work really well, is kind of like, you know how every single MMO, other than RuneScape, you have this base movement speed, and when you're in combat, you slow right down. I feel like RuneScape could benefit from a similar aspect where you're running, like, I shouldn't be using run energy while doing clue scrolls. It shouldn't cost me run energy to run through Karamja. But if you're in combat, then your run energy starts to drain and then acts normal. Unless you're on a PvP world or in the wilderness or in an instance or in certain minigames, then it becomes, then it acts normal. Leagues made me realize run energy is absolutely unnecessary in all scenarios. If it makes something easier, make it harder in a different way. Well, run energy is only, like, run energy is a core aspect of late game PvM. Raiding, Inferno, it's important in the Inferno. It's important in fight caves if you want to go fast. It's important in Solo Olm. It's important in Theater of Blood. I mean, if you're going to butterfly Akka, you need run energy in there, hence the salts. Doing Bando 6 and 0, you know, there's a lot of aspects where run energy is important, and that's where run energy should be drained and where staminas are used. But running across Karamja for a clue scroll, running from Lumbridge to Draenor, running from Draenor to fucking Ardi should not cost you. You should have unlimited run energy the whole way, regardless of weight. Weight should not matter. You should just be able to run. Okay? This is a big stretch, and this is obviously, I'm not liking this idea, but this is a stretch because people have you've heard they should bring mounts to Oldschool RuneScape. If you made it that run energy was not affected outside of combat, then you could bring your mounts to RuneScape and you're automatically demounted when you're in combat. Okay, that's an example. You can open up avenues for content like that. Something can be incorporated outside of combat. All right. I'll be your man, osrs. Okay, don't make it gay. That's just like, you know, sugarcoating the spastics. But you shouldn't be using run energy just to move around the fucking game. It should not matter at all. And Leagues definitely shows that. Absolutely. Mounts would be cool. No, we're going to stop the conversation there. It was just an example of people like wanting mounts. If you want mounts in a game like this, that is how you incorporate it. That is literally the fix. Your mount can be a white VS wagon, absolutely yes. You can get a VL turbo as well. But it's sold a scythe under 400 mil, absolutely sit. Nice. What about extra items, stamp potions to preserve, sustain the energy? No, that's just, you're just piling shit on top of shit. Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. Teleports like a quick travel in Runescape, very true, absolutely. But you still have to do running sometimes. You want them to add more teleports? I just think you shouldn't be using run energy. Unless you're in combat or the wilderness or minigames or instances. Like the main uses of run energy is, or stamina potions, is bossing, PvMing, blast furnace. So allow them to stay in there. That way the price of staminas don't, you know, suffer. That's my proposal, my idea that I like to try and pitch. But let's see what Jagex comes up with. I'm sure they'll come up with something decent anyway. But the weight system makes no fucking sense. Running from one end of barrack to the other shouldn't cost run energy at the very least. No, it shouldn't. Versus the mounting, with the GPU, you can click halfway to a telly almost anywhere. Yep, it's true. But people just like to look cool in the game, don't they? Alright, NPC defense changes. Alright, nothing feels quite as good as bringing the right tools for the job and exploiting an NPC's weakness, but to devastating effect. That being said, there is a lot of NPCs who are technically weak to a certain style, but not weak enough for it to really matter. For example, gargoyles are weak to crush, but not by much, so it's often the kind of players who are killing gargoyles in the first place to be better off using the Abyssal Whip and the best value crush weapon. Oh man, I've been saying that for years, and people think I'm a dickhead. Like, they have no fucking defense. Like, people try to... Crush is better for gargoyles. It doesn't matter. It's exactly right. I'd like to take and make existing NPC weaknesses feel more pronounced, so that gear progression might feel a little less linear on your way to the endgame content, where bringing the right tools to the job becomes more noticeable. Okay. I'm not looking to change things up to the point that you can't carry on doing what you're doing. To stick with the previous example, using the Abyssal Whip against gargoyles is still perfectly fine. This might be the case where the Straightness Cudgel pulls ahead ever so slightly if you have one kicking about. We don't have a full list yet, so there'd likely be too many NPCs to list, of course. Adjusting existing weaknesses is all well and good, but the biggest beneficiary of a change like this is so obviously melee. Yes, because melee has 3 different attack styles, where range and mage do not. Since it has 3 distinct attack styles, slash, stab, and crush, that allow for a lot more gear diversity, and also for a much broader reward space when it comes to designing new content. Range and magic are what they say on the tin. NPC weak to range is very weak to every range weapon. Magic equally weak to both Tombing Shadow and Fire Strike. This can make it a little more challenging to add new rewards without either power creeping at an unhealthy rate or releasing content that doesn't see much use for many existing players. We'd like to see at least take a look at rolling out some new defense types for NPCs and exploring elemental weaknesses. Yeah, okay. I mean, even if you had the idea that there's some sort of damage or accuracy bonus for using the correct attack style. For example, if gargoyles are weak to crush weapons hit 5% harder. Or crush weapons have a increased minimum hit. So that way, if you use the correct weakness on the gargoyle, you can now, you have a 10% minimum hit now on all crush weapons. Therefore, bringing up the DPS without blowing your max hit through the fucking roof, for example. Pyroven's weak to water spells, so now you have an increased minimum hit. Like, that's one way. Like, increasing minimum hit is a good way to just increase DPS without busting power, right? It's a great way to fucking do it. So that's not a bad idea, but I mean, they might have something else in mind, who knows. Oldschool's combat system is iconic and integral to the game, absolutely. We have no interest in changing the feel and fundamental of fighting in Oldschool and want to make sure you're comfortable with the changes, which we'll further outline in the section's dedicated blog. Not looking to evolve combat, we're looking to create new avenues for rewards and give players a reason to use gear that's super cool but often just sits in the bank gathering dust. We'd like to do this by introducing range type weaknesses that mirror the breadth of melee weaknesses. Okay, like javelins and bolts, standard arrows and light. Okay, throwing weapons, knives and darts. Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. By introducing elemental weaknesses that might make up magic progression beyond trident, sang, and shadow for air, smoke, ice water. Yeah, okay, alright. Phantom Muspar weak to psychic moves. Yeah, that'd be pretty good. And like Squirtle's weak to lightning. Can't dumb having 3 of each tier of useless normal damage spells, so yeah. Ultimately, what this boils down to is maybe a heavy ballista is worth bringing to gargoyles if you'd like to kill them with ranged, or that fire giants might take a little extra damage from water ice spells, which might free us up to making cool new things that fill more gaps without moving power upwards. I think that's totally cool. I think that's a good strategy. Not going to get into any more right now because this one needs a separate blog. Yep, and we won't be releasing that blog until we're ready to go with a playable beta. Nice. We appreciate the rebalancing on a scale like this is a lot, and that it would be totally unreasonable to expect you to get a feel for things without being able to get hands-on. So we're not touching anything until we have ample time to play around. Yeah, absolutely. Just one thing at a time, I think, is the best way to go about it. Nice. Why do they have to shake this shit up when we all love playing it how it is? No, trust me, Wedis, that is incorrect. Trust me. People hate this game for no fucking reason. Combat item adjustments. Start off, we'd like to bundle all of the following in with the defense changes beta. Okay, or add them to separate beta of their own so that you can once again get properly stuck in, okay, and give us valuable feedback. We talk about adjustments here. They're separated into 2 broad categories, and we'll just call them what they are. Nerfs and buffs. Buffs are scary, nerfs are fun. Historically speaking, it's relatively rare for us to actively rebalance gear, but as the game moves forward, we get a clearer picture of more long-term issues with items that either aren't living up to their potential or befitting their status, or with items that hurt existing and future reward space and actively make progression feel less rewarding. Alright. Here's what we're looking to bring down in power and why. Osmond's Fang is too strong on non-stab style slash and harms the position of other high-value melee weapons like the scythe, blade sailor, and Inquisitor's mace. Okay, I'm of the opinion that bringing slash down on the Fang will do nothing for the scythe at all. It'll make the blade more valuable. I don't know what it will do with the mace, to be honest, but the blade will probably just retain its value because it's based off of the Bofa. But the scythe, almost nothing's going to change slash-wise. Like, the scythe is better than the Fang on slash unless you're doing Duke without BGS. It's that simple. So, yeah. Voidwaker, guaranteed hits. Ignoring accuracy checks in PvM makes it difficult to design worthwhile spec DPS weapons in future without creeping upwards significantly. So they're going to remove the guaranteed hit in PvM for the Voidwaker? Interesting. I guess if they remove the guaranteed hit, they'll probably make the spec be more accurate, I'd imagine, because it's not a super accurate weapon, otherwise I think it sits just below the whip. Accuracy check is what makes it good. Yes, absolutely. Ancient Godsword. Current healing from special attack elongates outlast fights. Creates too big a HP delta even when prayed against correctly. Okay, this is for PvP, right? Currently healing from special attack elongates outlast fights. Yeah, but you can counter that by creating distance. If you run away from the other player, then it doesn't work. I know that doesn't help if you're frozen, but like, isn't that the point of PvP? I guess yeah, okay. I mean, I guess that's up to PvPers to decide, but I feel like that's a bit silly. I guess people are just sick of using the Ancient Godsword because they want to use Voidwakers instead of Godswords, right? So if you're having trouble fighting people with Ancient Godswords, bring your own Ancient Godsword. Problem solved. Occult Necklace, far too powerful in a single... Oh, shut the fuck up. No, it's not. Bring its power down slightly and distribute the magic damage across the other parts of the magic progression. That is such a fucking bad idea, man. No, I think that is a terrible idea. People that complain about the occult being too strong, the only reason the occult feels too strong is because the shadow is fucking broken. It's not the occult that's the problem, it's the fucking shadow. Nerf the fucking shadow's power. Are you fucking kidding? The shadow is a big problem. The occult is fine. The occult was never a problem until the shadow came to the game. It's the fucking shadow. This is a bad idea, Jagex. This is dumb. Okay. Yeah. No, that's bad. That is not good at all. No. Non-shadow owner be like, no, you're a dickhead. Doesn't seem like any difference. They're dumping it in other pieces of gear. Right, so they're diversifying magic and making no difference then. Is that what you're saying? So this means nothing to someone who's already got max gear. All this does is, thank you, best friend. I appreciate 21 months, man. All nerfing the occult does in that sense then is just slows down everyone else in the game that hasn't already grinded or bought max magic, and then they're still busted anyway. The reality is I think that the shadow should be, instead of 3 times accuracy and damage, 2.5, maybe even 2. That's the problem, not the occult. The occult being 10%, the occult being 10% makes magic somewhat viable, right? Magic is a terrible combat style, always has been, until the shadow came. Not everyone can afford / farm shadow dog shit if they nerf occult. It's got nothing to do with whether you can afford a shadow or get a shadow. The fact is that magic is shit. The shadow is too strong for magic, but magic as a combat style is just terrible. It scales completely different to range and melee, and it suffers because of that. Comp magic strength can buff mid-game stuff like arrows and daggers. It can make combat content relevant. Just taking 5% of the accuracy and throwing it in eternal boots. I haven't got to that bit yet, so wait. Maybe they buff arrows a percent. No, I just don't think they should touch it. Have the shadow stay at 3x but lower base damage. I don't know what the base damage of the shadow is. Maybe. I don't know. But it's more about what it balances off everything else, right? Occult 10% damage is crazy. No, it's not. How the fuck is occult 10% damage crazy? 10% is nothing. What are you talking about? How the fuck can occult 10% be damaged? How could that be crazy? It's 30% with the shadow. That's crazy. Well, let's have a look. Let's get a better picture. At level 99 magic, without an occult, without any mage gear, 99 magic, your max hit with a sang staff is 32. With an occult, it goes to 35. How the fuck is that broken? Tormented is considered hella powerful at 5%. No, it's not considered powerful at 5%. Tormented is only useful with the occult because together they make 15%, which is huge, right? And the cape, which brings you from 32. So cape, occult, and bracelet takes you from 32 to 37 max hit on the sang staff. How is that massive? That's 5 max hits. I'm telling you right now, 10%, 15% is not a lot. With the shadow, it's fucked. But if you put all mage increasing gear, so if, look, sang stuff, okay, this is obviously pre-imbued heart or pots, you're getting 8 increased max hit from 99 magic, 32 to 40 with a sang staff. That's with all the gear without an imbued heart. 8 max hit. That is it. This is terrible. The only time magic is strong, other than maybe Harmonized Orb with Tome of Fire, is the Shadow. Otherwise, this is all shit. This is only 11 increased max hit with, what's that, with Salts, I believe? I believe that's with Salts, yeah? Imbued Heart only goes to 121, right? Is that correct? Imbued Heart takes you to 49 max hit. This is bad. You're also giving up a bunch of defense by committing to those slots. You absolutely are. It's not far too much power in a single item node. I can tell you right now, the problem with the occult is the shadow, and the people have only had a problem with the occult when the shadow came out. Before, the occult was a necessity because magic sucked without the occult. Before the shadow came out, if you didn't have an occult, you were suffering with magic, and even then, magic was not the preferred attack style. So how can you tell me that the occult is the problem? Shifting the occult isn't going to change anything. Shifting it to other items isn't going to change anything. It's still going to be fucked. The shadow is too strong. But if you nerf the shadow, people get upset. It loses value because people cry. And also, magic becomes slightly shitter. Again, probably biased from being a newer player. That's fine. Newer player, dumber player, you're all in the same bracket. It doesn't matter who you are. The occult does not need to be nerfed. I can tell you that right now. I think it gives you 10% accurate. 10% damage and 12 accuracy, that is it. Might give defense as well, maybe. It's the occult is not the problem. The stats of the occult is not the problem. The stats of the occult are terrible. I mean, the people that have a problem with this are the same people that think that the occult is necessary to do the Inferno. We're beyond the power with Shadow and Occult, but without the Occult, Magic is trash. Yes. I think the Shadow needs to be dialed back a little bit. I also think, while on the same, this is an oxymoron, right? I think the Shadow needs to be dialed back, but I also think that Ancestral could do with either a damage, maybe accuracy buff more than anything, but that's only because of the stupid way that they've put Magic. They should have done that a long time ago. Average gives 5% range. Is the Occult too weak? What do you mean? Anguish given 5% range. What's that got to do with the Occult? Anguish is for ranged. That doesn't make sense. It's an uber item. It should be stronger. The Occult or the Shadow? Tome of Water and Fire. These need to be kept in mind alongside potential for elemental weaknesses. If elemental weaknesses pick up some of the slack for elemental damage, these tomes can likely be too strong and need adjusting. That's fair. I meant to say Anguish twice. So, is the Anguish too weak because it's 5%? What? No, I think the Anguish is fine how it is. But range and magic are both scaled differently, right? The way that magic and range and their damage is calculated in this game and their accuracy are completely fucking different. So you can't ever compare them. They're not even like remotely similar attack styles. It's a rebalance, that's why they said distribute the magic damage across other parts of the magic progression. Yeah, I don't think that makes a difference. Because at the end of the day, the end game, it's still going to be the same busted result. The problem isn't progressing to best in slot magic. The problem is end result of best in slot magic, which is the Shadow being too fucked. So if you're just going to split this across the game to make the progression of magic... Thank you, Mike Hunter. I appreciate that. Thank you. The problem isn't progression of magic. You're telling me that the Occult is too fast? The Occult makes magic too powerful too early? No, not unless you get spooned to Shadow. Anguish is even harder to obtain and gives half the damage. Yes, but range is calculated completely differently, and your range damage is a lot higher and more accurate than magic. What, like, you're comparing magic and range like they even fucking belong in the same field. What are you taking 5% of the Occult and giving damage bonus to magic pros? I don't think that. No, I don't think that's fixing anything. Like, why take it off the Occult? Why not just have a magic damage prayer? I've got the Shadow on my Ironman. Please don't nerf. You've got a couple months still. Occult only has a 90 plus Slayer requirement for Ironman. It's not exactly an early game item. I don't think that matters either. Yeah, I know Steen Hands does the same, eh? Literally the Occult. The Occult is fine. This is people who don't know what they're talking about complaining because they don't want to accept the fact that the Shadow is too strong. That's all it is. Because if you distribute the 10% from the Occult to something else, it makes no difference at the end game. So all you're doing is fucking the progression of magic for no reason. Here's what we're looking to bring up in power. Adjust damage on... Okay, sorry. Here's what we're looking to bring up in power and why. Alright. Adjust damage on hit to roll from 1 to max instead of 0 to max hit. Okay, this makes early combat feel better. As it stands, if your max hit is 1, you deal 0 damage 50% of the time, right, of the time you hit successfully. Okay, so they're going to remove the 0 successful hit damage roll. Interesting. This can feel pretty terrible for new players. Also improve success to information around successful Dragon Warhammer or Arclight hits, for example. Right, yeah, because it still counts, but Runelight might not pick it up. Saber is one of the Occult nerf for a while now. Okay, so... magic prayers are mediocre means lower ones can be relevant too. No, because increasing magic damage in the game through prayers was considered a bad idea at the time. Additional considerations required for the 10 HP community. But we'll get to the 10 HP community. Alright, Scythe of Vitur. Not enough existing use cases. Often too expensive to be worth using. More on this later. Not enough existing use cases. So make more content. Problem solved. Eldermore, not enough existing use cases, don't really benefit this, its mega rare status. You had your chance, and you decided to buff the Dragon Warhammer inside Tecton for some reason instead of the Eldermore, which in my opinion was a dumb idea. I know most people voted for the Dragon Warhammer option, But the Elder Maul option was just a smarter choice than the Dragon Hammer option. The Dragon Hammer option was purely just for people at endgame to cope with their Inquisitors. So they should do the Elder Maul buff on Tecton. They should buff the Elder Maul inside Cox in general, really. But yes. Inquisitors, extremely rare items. Yep, Maze often falls short of other offerings, even in places where Crush should be the go-to. It's vastly more expensive than its equivalent weapons in other styles. That's fair. They should make the Nightmare roll twice on the drop table. Not for twice, I guess for a chance, only one unique, but maybe double the roll. I don't know, still. Maybe just make the Nightmare grind less tedious in general. It shouldn't really affect Mega Rares though, or the rare drop table, so I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, Inquisitors getting some love is absolutely something that needs to happen. But, do you know how they fix that? Release more content. Release more Crush content. So what happened was, and people, like, do you guys remember No Monkey? And how he had this problem with Jagex, endgame content's not good enough. And these people in that field, right? Not No Monkey specifically, but people in his field, okay? Endgame content, high-end PvMers, people who play nothing but raids and bosses, and they speed run, and they're Grandmaster helmets. They're meant to be smart players. You look at them and you go, wow, he's a Grandmaster, he's got Blood Torva, he's got a scythe with kits. He must know a lot about the game. These people are the dumbest cunts on the fucking planet, okay? They don't know shit. Okay, they don't understand what's happened. Over the past, so for the first 9 years of Oldschool RuneScape, Slash was the primary melee attack style. Slash was everything. Abyssal Whip ruled the fucking planet, and then they had the Blade of Salador, which was too expensive and tedious to get. Then you had the Scythe, and that was the shit. Okay? Nightmare came along, Crush had a little bit of use, you had then Inquisitors with the Dragon Hunter Lance for Olm, which is still really fucking powerful. Crush had a little bit of involvement, but not a whole lot. Okay? Slash ruled the fucking planet. Theater of Blood, all Slash. Okay, so everyone's sucked into this Slash and strength, max hit, mindset, meta, okay? The meta has been formed. Now, Next came out, and now Next came out, and now Stab was used for the stab and range. In Next was for the best gold per hour, and then TOA came out, and that is also a Stab entitled raid, where Stab now gives you the most gold per hour. So because the most gold per hour, because everyone cares about GP and the most gold per hour, that's all you care about, right? If you play the main game, all you want is GP per hour. Okay, that's all they want to do. So now, if you want the most gold per hour, you go to the wiki, TOA, Next. Okay, I need a stab weapon. So now Slash, that's had so much fucking power for so long, is not the most prominent, dominant attack style. Now Stab is. People all of a sudden feel like the Scythe has no existence, has no place. It's not changed. The scenery is the same. The Scythe still fucks. Slash is still super powerful. But there's more money to be made with Stab at the moment. So how do you fix the Scythe? If you want to fix the Scythe, really, you bring more Slash content to the game that competes gold per hour with TOA and Next. And then people will have a use for the Scythe. The Fang is only better than the Scythe on the Duke because it's fucking annoying to drain his defense with the BGS, right? The BGS drains, if you hit a big BGS on the Duke, the Scythe fucks the Fang 9 times out of 10. The Scythe is still better on bigger targets. The Scythe isn't a problem. It's the content. Now, I know Jagex doesn't necessarily want to just keep adding new content to the game when they can just fix content, but really, you kind of just fucked yourself because a meta has been formed, which is just DPS, strength bonus, Slash, and now Stab in 2 of the biggest gold per hour rate, pieces of content in the game. People just want to do high-level PvM that earns a lot of money. Getting Torva, getting Shadows. So, of course, people are going to go and use Stab. And people feel like Slash is not getting enough love. To be honest, you're just not doing enough Tob. Because that's all you were doing before it came out. You stopped doing Tob. That's your problem. That's all it is. There is no better way to fucking explain it. Yet these people want to sit here and complain saying that Jagex is doing something wrong. Not really. Your vocabulary is limited to what's the best goal per hour. What's the end goal of these changes? To satisfy everyone. Sorry, but Axe is a little too frustrating to feel good using. I've not used the Sorry for Axe personally, so I will not comment. Reduced drain rate on bottom tier prayers, like thick skin, burst of... Which ones are those? Existing drain rates made them effectively unusable in any real capacity. Okay, okay, sure. Improved sharp iron, burst of strength prayers. Code with the prayers needs to hit 20s for these prayers to have any effect, due to how our game handles rounding. Sharp eye and burst of strength. What? Currently, the player needs to hit 20s for the prayers to have any effect. Oh, okay, I see, right, because of the 10%, yep. Due to how the game handles rounding, which doesn't really line up with the level they're unlocked at. Yeah, okay, understandable. I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Wait, thank you for the $2, man. I appreciate that, dude. Your videos always make me die laughing. Thanks for making great content. Thank you. What the fuck is your name, cunt? Kowalski, dude. Mike Wazowski. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. We'll be going into more detail on the Scythe and Fang in just a moment. Oh, okay. But for the rest, we'll be waiting for a dedicated blog. Cool. All right, let's have a look at the Fang. All right, I didn't even know. We're still going. Holy shit. I'm sorry. This is dragging out. My bad. All right, so the Fang. What software changes? Nothing yet. We're not sure. You're telling me most of the time the prayer doesn't do anything? What's 10% of 10? 1. So the top guy just got me through the top run for the quest. Good man. All right. I'm happy to help. Thank you. Oldschool's premier tank-busting stab weapon is introduced alongside most recent Raid to Massacre. Since then, we've been seeing conversation crop up time and time again about the use across the board, whether its power is healthy. In particular, the release of Desert Treasure 2 and everybody's favorite vampire puppeteered by malicious fungus Vardavis shone a spotlight on the Fang's efficacy when used to slash as opposed to stab. Ultimately, for a stab weapon with no additional usage cost, it sits a little too close to dedicated slash weapons that require upkeep, namely the Blade of Saldor and Scythe. We don't want to alter the identity as a seriously strong stab weapon. Feel like it's necessary to remove a lot of its slashing power and have it properly occupy its niche as a stab weapon. So what they should have done at the start is make it the two-handed stab weapon they were originally going to do. That's what they should have done. So dedicated slash weapons are able to shine where they're supposed to. With this in mind, I feel like the cleanest solution is to have the Fang's unique double accuracy roll passively effect only on stab. That's fine. Look, we've talked about this before. The reality is, this is only a problem at Vardavis, okay? And if Vardavis was a 3x3 monster, then the Scythe would beat the Fang and we wouldn't have a problem. That is the reality. Is that if Vardavis was one size bigger, this conversation and this nerf would never be happening. I can guarantee you. Vardavis being 2x2, he is 2x2, right? So the Scythe only hits twice, not 3 times. Is that correct? Just so the statement is correct. That is the only. Yes, that's correct. Yes, that is the only reason this is a conversation now. I guarantee you. If Vardavis was one size bigger, no one would care about this because the Scythe would fuck him and everyone would be happy. Because the Scythe would have it used and it'd be fucking fun. So is the problem the weapon or the content? I don't know. I really don't know. I genuinely can't give you that answer. I think the content is the problem. I'm fine with them removing the slash roll, to be honest, because the stab still fucks everywhere. Remove size requirement for the Scythe? Not a bad idea, to be honest. Fang was like a cheesy quest like the Silverlight. I'd like Silverlight. Oh, does it? No, not really. Be good for the long-term health for the future slash enemies. I don't think it matters, man. I think the long-term future for slash enemies, the long-term health for future slash enemies is determined by whether it's a 2x2 or 3x3 and higher. If it's 3x3 and higher, Scythe wins. If it's not, doesn't matter. If it's not, then who fucking cares? Rapier stays shit. Rapier's been shit since release. Doesn't matter. Does the Fang still go for Slayer? The Whip's always been the go-to for Slayer. Anything else above the Whip, you're wasting your money. Whip is 2 million. It provides amazing fucking DPS and accuracy on almost anything you fight. You want to go anything more expensive than the Whip? Then do it if you got the money. Whip is best for Slayer because it's free, cheap, easy. It's like 1 mil. Done. Are they going to nerf Fang? Looks like they're going to nerf the defense roll. The accuracy roll on the slash, sorry. This means the Fang remains a fantastic, generalistic... since its accuracy reroll allows it to perform well even against foes who aren't necessarily weak to stab like Tecton, the Nightman, even bosses inside the Fear of Blood. It's possible that potential changes to NPC defense might diminish the Fang's jack of all trades status somewhat. Still think it will prove to be an immensely valuable pickup and unlock for any player looking to make the first forays into PvM and Oldschool. Yep. What this change does more than anything is make more room for Blade Saldor and the Scythe to be worth the cost and the future cement the idea that you're bringing the right tools to the job. To be honest, this means fuck all. The reality is this means absolutely fucking nothing because stab's not going to change because if you change the stab of the Fang, you ruin the weapon completely, and you ruin TOA, unless you keep it just in TOA, which completely ruins the point of nerfing the weapon. Changing the slash roll doesn't, like, okay, so basically Vardavis, you'd use the blade now. That's all that means. That's all they're doing. They're saying Vardavis, use the blade instead of or use the scythe instead of the Fang. That's all that this is telling us. Basically, if you want the scythe to be best in slot, make it a fucking 3x3 monster, or bigger, or let the scythe hit 3 times on 2x2s. Blade being more useful is good. I mean, not really. Are you gonna go get a fucking blade now because of this? No. Just use a fucking tent whip, dude. It's like infinitely fucking cheaper for a very similar result. Why the fuck would you buy a blade if you can just tent whip shit? What, for the extra fucking, what, 1 max hit, maybe 2? It's fucking tent whip, dude. Why don't they give other items passes that aren't dogwater or rework the specs? I don't think they need to. Fang is viable for Tecton as well. I think Fang is viable for Tecton, but Fang will stay the same on stab. Not going to ground siege you for another 100 hours or a worse Fang. Exactly. Sober Axe is best in slot Vardavis. There you go. Then Sober Axe wins anyway, right? But the point is, I think, is the content is the problem, not the fucking weapon. Anyway, Scythe. We'd like to buff the Scythe. Cool. I don't know if we need to, but here's why. It's pretty simple. It comes up a lot of conversation both within the team and the community. The community thinks it's weak is because they're fucking idiots. Scythe is a mega rare weapon, old school's hardest raid, but doesn't feel like it occupies the same space as T-Bow and Typical Shadow since it doesn't have as many use cases as other mega rare weapons because of the content, right? Granted, being able to attack something from a range distance, whether it's range or mage, is also a huge benefit, but that's just something melee lacks. But no one has the Sober Axe before grinding Vardavis except mains, but fuck mains. Okay. Its usage cost is one of the highest in the game. Yep, the only more expensive weapon is being the Toxic Blowpipe Dragon Darts. Even at some places where the Scythe is technically best in slot, it's often not good enough compared to the second or third best options to feel worth the cost. Vardavis and Duke, yep. Encapsulate this fairly well. The Fang is hot on the Scythe's heels, but has no upkeep cost. Exactly. So the problem there again is the content, not the weapon. Well, kind of is the weapon, but the content for Vardavis. The Duke, if you're going to hit BGS, then Scythe is better, but again, the Fang is just so much fucking cheaper to run, of course. The how is a little less simple. It needs us to look both short and long term. Long term, we want to commit to adding more content featuring low defense / weak 3x3 or bigger bosses where the Scythe is likely to shine. Okay. In recent times, we've been adding more NPCs with higher defense values and trying to make defense feel more relevant in Oldschool Runescape as a balancing vector. Historically, you generally bring your hardest hitting weapon to any fight since monsters either had such low defense that your accuracy didn't matter, or you could just lower the defense to the same point anyway. Players complained that accuracy felt useless as a stat, so they tried rectifying this in places, but it's hurt the site's usability in the process. The big lesson here is to do a bit of both. We've added a lot of tanky NPCs recently. We could pull back the release. We've added a lot of tanky NPCs recently. We could pull back and release some low defense ones again and try to keep the health balance and the Scythe shine a little more brightly. Okay, so like I said, content will fix the Scythe, right? Which is what I've been saying from day one. It's worth noting that when the Scythe is already good, it's really good. Its DPS potential is beyond that of the T-Bow and the Shadow in many places, absolutely. I believe the main thing separating the Scythe from the other mega rares is the sheer volume of content where the T-Bow and Shadow are best in slot. Short term, we want to make a few direct changes to the Scythe, ultimately aiming to give it an extra edge in a few more instances without overly buffing it in spots where it's already strong, and above all, make it feel good enough to be worth the cost. Okay. With this in mind, we want to give the Scythe a slight accuracy buff so that its use case is slightly expanded and that it performs a little better against NPCs with slightly more respectable defense levels. Additionally, aim to cut the cost down so that even in places where it doesn't utterly steamroll the second best in slot option, the time saved or XGP per hour made feels like it's worthwhile decision. Sorry, I'm losing myself here. Rather than just a steadily increased hole in the bank. All right. Adds 15%. Add 15 slash accuracy to the Scythe. What is it currently? 150 or something? 120? What is it at the moment? The Scythe accuracy. It's pretty fucking big, if I remember correctly. Charged 110. So we're gonna go 125. Okay. Sure. Are they going to give it a stab attack style? It's got 70 stab. This gives the scythe a slight boost in many of the instances listed above. Doesn't shift the power too much in places where defense levels are already very low. Tob, yep. In terms of existing use cases, adding 15 slash accuracy increases the DPS by 0.2% at really low defense. Bosses like the Big Nalo, 20 defense, but 7% at bosses like General Grador. Okay. Reduce charge costs from 1 vial of blood, 300 blood runes, to 1 vial of blood, 200 blood runes, and 100 for 100 charges. Okay. Following numbers were taken for November 28th. Okay. Reduces the cost from per swing from 779 gold to 584, which brings the hourly down from 935k to 700k. Okay. This is an upper cap when in conjunction with the final charge change on the list. Actual spend is likely to be a little lower, of course. Makes sense. This is approximately 26% usage cost reduction. Only use charge when the scythe actually hits an enemy. So I think that should be the case of all charged weapons, really. Just if it doesn't land a hit, don't use a charge. I know it sounds a bit busted and backwards, but like it works with the arc light really well. And it works really well with crystal as well. Like crystal armor only hits you only lose a charge if you actually get damaged. I think it's just a great way to fucking balance a lot of the cost of weapons, you know? It makes you feel more, like you're getting more value out of your damage or your charges. Cheaper than the past these polls and put the more bosses in. Okay. I don't think this is going to be polled, dude. While this isn't a frequent occurrence with the scythe, since all 3 hits roll accuracy independently, it's likely to add up over extended periods of use, of course. The scythe is more likely to miss at enemies with high defense, which means the change has most benefit on the scythe in places where it most struggles. Okay. These changes to the scythe intentional long-term boss design, as well as previously mentioned changes to the Fang, put the scythe and melee landscape as a whole into a much healthier spot. I'm conscious of the fact that when it's not a perfect solution, that there's a lot riding on long-term commitments to intentionally keep design yet scythe spotlighting content, but we'll be looking out for any and all feedback and continuing to keep an eye on the scythe so that we can get into the best possible place and hopefully get more of you into the theater of blood. It's really good and absolutely worth the learning curve. Absolutely. I think if they're going to make new content that's slash, they should not be making it small unless they really don't want the scythe to be best in slot. Why can't we have different effect stats on items based on the content you're doing? So we can keep PvM and PvP effects separate, so a busted item in PvM just won't carry weight in PvP. It's probably an engine change thing, and that's probably something the community won't want. The boss weak to slash and low defense makes more contribution to scythe than the changes itself. Like you mentioned, charges was never the issue. Well, charges is an issue, right? But charges isn't an issue because people don't want to charge their weapon. Charges is an issue because people look at that as money, and people define their Runescape account and life by their bank value. And if it's going to cost me $1 million an hour to run the scythe when I've got a 400 mil cash stack, I don't want to lose that money. People value it too much. Ironman can be considered a little bit different because it is a lot harder to make money on an Ironman. I guess you can't just snap sell shit or snap buy things. But at the end of the day, people look at this and see that as a bad thing. I think that reducing the cost is excellent. But the biggest problem that the scythe has, that I think this literally tells us, is that the NPCs are too small. Vardavis is not big enough. Vardavis should have been 3x3, or let the scythe hit big on 2x2 monsters. That would change a lot, actually, because that doesn't physically increase the scythe's DPS, but it opens the variety of monsters the scythe can fuck, right? If the scythe hit 3 times on 2x2 monsters, you'd have to think about it more because I don't know all the 2x2 monsters, but it would dominate everything regardless. It would become the best. It might actually be bad for the Soul Reaper axe, to be honest. But again, that's kind of the point. So I think it's the content that's the problem, not the weapon. Again, the only reason the Fang nerf is here is literally because of Vardavis. If Vardavis was 3x3, this would not be a fucking discussion. No one would care. There is no denying that at all. People were too hooked on the strength / DPS meta until Nex and TOA came along, and now people are like, oh no, my scythe. Well, you wanted high defense monsters, you got it. Axe already shot like 40 mil, so I'm dumping that shit. This is like, it's going to change again when the next blog comes out, and the next blog, and the next blog, and the beta. These prices are going to keep going. This blog is okay, but basically what it's telling me is, like, there's all this skilling shit doesn't matter. It's fucking hot in here. The skilling shit doesn't matter until we see the blog. So ignore this. Mining, they just don't have a fucking clue. Jagex is completely, I don't know if they're oblivious. I think they're just fucking cowards. Because it is ridiculous that 3-tick granite and gems is going to be the best way to get mining XP still. Mining is not rewarding, and mining is not fun. Volcano isn't rewarding enough, unless these changes are big, to make it worth your time doing, because the XP is so fucking bad. Give us a really good, like, give us something with better XP rates than this gay shit, or make Volcano like 80, 90k XP an hour with its current drop rates. If you get good XP but have fun, then it's not a problem. But the reason mining suffers is because it's essentially the only skill that is, you have to like fucking squeeze a turd out just to get 70k XP an hour, and even then you just fucking hate it. Every other skill has some sort of method that you don't mind kind of just doing. Like, it sucks, but you'll do it because it's not mining. That's literally the concept. That's the problem. Run energy, I would like to see what they propose, because I think you shouldn't use run energy if you're not in combat, wilderness, or specific areas. That's simple. NPC defense, looking forward to this. This looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. I want to know if they are open to the idea in melee, at least, that if you use the correct melee attack style, your minimum hit is increased maybe. So even though slash and stab are essentially the same, it doesn't matter. But the cudgel, for example, on gargoyles, would have an increased minimum hit, so the cudgel will never hit less than whatever the max hit. If your max hits 30, so you'll never hit less than 3 or 4 or whatever, then that might be more enticing. I don't know though, it depends on the numbers. It might be completely useless, might be overkill. I think that's a good idea though, but I like these ideas regardless. Very cool. Combat item adjustments. Fang is not going to change anything. Void Waker, I don't know about that. Ignoring accuracy check, as long as there's an accuracy buff still with the spec, then I'm not too bothered. And they don't remove the minimum hit, so it's still like a minimum hit, but like you still have to land the accuracy. Maybe if it's like double accuracy on the spec, that'd be fine. I don't think it really matters though. It's kind of silly that I didn't even. Yeah, I guess because this kind of interrupts the BGS meta then, which is why the scythe suffers, because you just Void Waker spec. Because if you BGS spec, then the scythe's good, but why BGS spec for the scythe when you just Fang Void Waker? So it makes sense. Ancient Godsword, this is a PvP problem. Just take a fucking Ancient Godsword. Occult Necklace, worst idea in the fucking game. Do not nerf the Occult Necklace. That is a terrible fucking idea. No, that is the dumbest shit. And the Runescape community is at fault for that. This completely depends on the elemental stuff, so that's cool. Scythe, this basically just means we need better content. Eldermaul needs some love, especially in Cox. Inquisitors, absolutely. Sorry, but Axe can't comment on it, don't know. And yeah, whatever these make sense, sure, who cares. Fang nerf is purely Vardavis's fault, and Scythe buff, I don't fucking know, man. It's a fun weapon used, I don't care. Ancient Godsword is the next Mega Rare, it's not a next Mega Rare, it's a fucking Godsword hilt. Only good at uses 2x, guaranteed heals at 25. No, this is a PvP problem, this one here. From what I'm reading at least, anyway. Anyways, that's the blog for now. That's a long one, but hopefully you guys enjoy it. PvP and Vard. No, but this is a PvP problem here. This has nothing to do with Vardavis, the Ancient Godsword. This is PvP. It specifically says when prayed against correctly. Vardavis doesn't pray. I know people use it at Vardavis, but this is a PvP problem. From what I'm reading. This is the easiest room in the raid. It's quite simple. You got a big boy. Look at him, goddamn! Fuck me, look at that boy. It's huge!